Wait, welcome to the CT Sports Talent Show. My name is Christopher Saunders. I'm pleased to have on with me Aiden Hansen. He's a part of the Torrington football squad junior year, running back and kind of do it all. Aiden, I appreciate you coming on, buddy.
Thank you for having me on, Chris. It's nice to be on.
It's awesome as always to be able to have guys from Torrington. I started out in Torrington years ago, broadcasting games for the Torrington Titans, and then eventually being able to, to do Torrington football games, and
Hmm.
seeing at the time the Red Raiders being able to do their thing. Now they're just, you guys are just the Raiders, but being able to see the program as it's gone through its highs, its lows, and then the in-betweens. I think about the 2015 team that only lost one game during the regular season. They lost to Ansonia. I think about 2021, the run that I think even surprised probably Gaitan a little bit, thinking what you guys were able to do with Clink Scales, Rosado,
Uh-huh.
you make it all the way to the semi. And then obviously there's been some lull years in between, right? So you
Yeah, there's been a lot of that.
yeah, so you go into your junior year, man, and even though you lost some talent on both sides of the ball, the biggest thing, and I told this to Gaitan on Wednesday on the NVO preview show, the backfield, you return that. It is
Hmm.
when you've got the running back, and obviously I know Awa is more of that quarterback hybrid because of the system that you guys run, but how crucial is that to have some of the key cogs returning back on the team?
It does help like a lot, like I said, because we all have that chemistry. We've been playing with each other for like a really long time,
Mhm.
especially like we've been playing with each other since like middle school. So I think that also really helps.
Now, to kind of go back a little bit. Now, last year you guys started out 3-2, and
Hmm.
then you end up going, I think it was 2-5 the rest of the way, right? You lose
Yeah.
some tough games in between, a couple blowouts. But the biggest one, and I told this to Gaitan, when you look at your record, it's deceiving because if you look at the record, you would think, okay, you guys got blown out like every other game. You
Yeah.
guys scored more than you gave up, but you
Hmm.
still went and had the record that you did. So I ask you, with what you guys are returning back, if the defense can just be a little bit better, if you guys can just maybe negate some of the three and outs, some of the bad field position, maybe holding on to the ball. I know that was a little bit of trouble too. I feel like those little things could result in two or three, maybe more wins. What's
Hmm.
it do?
Yeah, I think that is a good case because like there was a lot of games that we had that we were down like by a touchdown and that could have changed the game by a lot. And either like our defense, like we would just mess up on a play and then that would just affect our whole game. Fumbles too, because I know I'm guilty of it. I had a couple fumbles that just like messed up the whole game for us. So I think if we could cut down on that, I feel like that would help a lot, especially with those like one touchdown losses that we had, like stuff like that. I think it would really help.
Do you feel like because of the young guys that are now back for another year, right? And because you guys went through the maturation, the failures, some of the losses that I think if you were to look back, I think it was GNH, you guys lost in a one-score game. I forgot the score, but I know it was close.
Yeah, it was really
Yeah,
close.
and that's just one example. But when you think about that, do you feel like maybe coming into now this year, a year older, stronger, hopefully
Mhm.
maybe a little bit better IQ wise,
Yeah.
understanding things, do you feel like potentially things could be different?
Oh, yes, I actually I do. I have really high hopes for this season. Like, I think, like everyone as a team, like I feel like we do have really high hopes for this season because everyone came back like off season too. Everyone's been working hard, like really, really hard, and I just feel like everyone's been playing as like hard as possible, and they want a good season. So I feel like we can do it.
How important was it? Because you guys were you had the first opportunity to be a part of the out of season conditioning, being able to train with the coaches 2 hours per day, two times per week, or
Hmm.
not per day, but 2 hours for 2 days per week. How important was that? And I know obviously I know you went to some camps, you were doing things,
Yep.
obviously vacations. I mean, you're still a kid, you got to be able to enjoy that.
Yeah.
Times that you were able to be with the team, how was that? And do you feel like that could even lessen the learning curve or the rust that some teams deal with heading into preseason?
I think yeah, all that off-season stuff that we were able to do, I think helped a lot, especially because we would lift, of course, we would get stronger, which would also help during the season. Our conditioning was also helping because like I haven't been as gassed this season because of that,
Yeah.
and I just feel like us team bonding also helps because that's gonna help us like be able to talk to it like pick each other up better, and like if someone does something wrong, we can hold them accountable. So I think that also helps.
Now, with the offense that you guys run, and I don't know if it may change a little bit. I know Gaitan's very good at being able to basically ad lib on the fly. But the
Hmm.
biggest thing for mainly you and Awa is being able to know the handoffs, who's getting the ball. Will know obviously whoever's not getting the ball's got a block and the whole
Yep.
nine. I feel like there's never enough repetitions with that because I feel like there's always something, either a hip turn, a handoff, the way that you hand the ball to somebody, because
Mm.
sometimes, I mean, I've seen some chaotic things just by a simple handoff.
Yeah.
How has that been? I know it's hard to replicate in practice because you got to be in games. And I
Hmm.
know you guys are scrimmaging on Wednesday and such.
Yep.
Um, have you been able to kind of talk to Awa? Because he's kind of like basically, your brother because you're
Yeah.
with him a lot.
Hmm. Yeah, like a lot of that stuff, like it is different for like all of us because obviously we're all different sizes and like it affects like a lot of the handoffs.
Yeah.
But honestly, we've been doing it so much. I think it just comes like natural to us, especially since we have our recurring backfield, so it's nothing different. But I don't think it's like that much of a problem for us right now.
No, that's good to hear. And I know obviously when you think about like Ansonia, right, who runs the hammer
Hmm.
formation, they do the
Yep.
pitches and such. Their quarterback is the only one that returned in a couple
Yeah.
offensive linemen. They've got a whole new number of kids, and I'm sure they're always very talented. But again, it kind of goes back to having that chemistry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you talked about the fumbles. What were some things that you were doing this offseason to kind of improve on that and not fumble the ball as much?
That's like one of my number one things I've been working on because that every time that happens in a game, it just puts me down. But one thing I have been doing, I've been practicing like doing my cone drills with the ball more, and I've been making sure I hold it high and tight, and like I've been squeezing it really hard just to make sure I get that in my head. Because I feel like last year I would move the ball around a lot when I would get in the hole, and that's just what would affect me. So I made sure I just held it high and tight, and I made sure it just stood there. That's it.
You ever seen Remember the Titans?
I don't think I have.
You haven't. Okay, that's
I
your
don't
homework
think I
assignment.
have.
You need to watch it because there's a
All
part
right.
where Petey, the running back, has the same problem. He fumbles the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And Denzel Washington, who plays the coach, kind of really gets in on him. And he does a couple things. Not bad, but just like basically, if you want to fumble this ball again, you're going to be running a whole lot.
Yeah.
Like, is there anything? I don't know if your family, if your father's, I'm sure he's huge into football. Has he,
Yeah.
like, he is? Okay, perfect. So, if you were to fumble the ball last year or if you do it this year, is there going to be any like punishments? Like you're going to have to like do something like run 8 miles, like anything like that, or no?
Yeah, it's a lot of conditioning and like he just nags on me for it too. That's a lot. So
So
that also
basically, you're never going to live it down, right?
nope, nope, not at all.
He's doing a good job then. That's what you
I that
love about
yeah,
him.
I know.
So you and I were just talking a little bit about Torrington being in tier two. I never like in basketball, they're in division 1 because
Hmm.
or tier one, tier two, tier three, however they like to call it. I call it tiers. So
Hmm.
Torrington in basketball for the boys, they're in tier 1. I think they are for the girls too. So when I think about and I hear about football and they're in tier 2, I'm like, okay, odd, but all right. But then I
Hmm.
think about, okay, well, you take care of the business that you need to, right? And then you've got 3 games that are out of the tier 2, which you'd play against tier 1 teams. I don't have the
Yep.
schedule in front, but you get the point I'm saying.
Yeah.
So do you think about that kind of stuff? You and your team, like, hey, if we take care of business, and obviously the Watertown game at the end of the year is one of the bigger rivalries when it
Yeah.
comes to Thanksgiving football. You've got an opportunity to be able to make some noise.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't think we've been thinking about it like that, but like this year, for me at least, I've been thinking about that because obviously I would like to bring us to a championship. I like our whole team because I know that would put us up like a lot, like make everyone really hyped and make us work even harder, which I want to see. So
Mhm.
I feel like this year I'm me myself at least, I'm gonna really try to push that and have them know, have my team know that that's what we should do.
Are there any guys remaining from that 21 team that made it to the semi in the playoffs? Is there anybody left or no?
I don't think so.
Okay. Okay. So as far as the experience in the playoffs, obviously that it would be kind of like brand new for everybody, right? To a
Yeah.
degree, if you are to get to that point.
Yep.
Obviously, you have to take care of business and get the wins when you need to.
Yes. I feel like that would help a lot.
So, as far as yourself, obviously you're not the tallest guy, but that's okay
Mhm.
because there was a young man who played for Naugatuck named Jet Hall,
Mhm.
who also was not very tall, and he made everybody look really, really bad. Even though
Yeah.
a lot of times the players were not bad, but he made
Mhm.
everybody look bad for a multitude of reasons. So
Yes.
obviously, you know, not being tall is not a game changing thing by any means, right? So is there anybody that you pattern your game around because of your size and your running ability?
Not really. I don't like because I think of it like I've always been the smallest person out there, so I just take it how it is, and all I can do really is just push myself as hard as possible
Mhm.
and just see what happens.
I was watching now. I don't know if you watch college football. I'm sure that you do. I was watching,
Yep.
think I was watching, it was New Mexico and Montana State. They were playing yesterday. And the broadcaster was talking about a conversation he had with one of the coaches. And I guess the coach was talking about having no, not big running backs, but having guys who were a little bit smaller. And
Mhm.
I thought this was funny. He said it's all right because you go small and then you could ball. So I thought that was pretty cool because you think about like the Darren Sproles, the Doug
Mhm.
Martins who played for Tampa back in the day,
Yep.
the who was it, Deuce on Dallas from
Yep.
Kansas State, like
Mhm.
need to be this like massive dude as far as height. If you've got the trunk, if you've got the legs, if you've got the power, I mean, and you're not afraid to take some hits because they
Yep.
will come. I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
like you can be a very, very good player. What says you?
Yeah. I mean, I think the same as well. Like I feel like it helps like putting in all that work too, because it's not coming easy, especially being like the smallest one. You don't get all this natural strength because of how big you are. It's like you really have to put in the work, especially being the smallest person on the field. Like it does not come easy.
Now, is there an opportunity for you to do kickoff and punt returns?
Yes, actually, this year I have been working on a lot of punt returns.
So
So
that's another little wrinkle as far
yeah.
as kind of adding to the repertoire for you, right?
Yep.
That's got to get you juiced up.
It definitely does. I can't wait to touch the field. Like I've been waiting for when this Wednesday. I know it's just a scrimmage, but I've been waiting for like 2 weeks. It's just been getting me hyped up every time I think about it.
Do you feel like because obviously people have seen you enough to know like you can run, you've got speed, you can
Yes.
go. Do you
Yes.
feel like do you feel like certain teams, because not every team has a kicker, right? So you may not
Yeah.
even get the ball
Mhm.
because the kicking ability is not there. It's not an insult, just the truth. It's not
Yeah.
not the main focus, especially in the NVL. There's very few
Mhm.
teams in the NVL who have kickers. But
Yeah.
when you do have that opportunity, how tough is it for you that not to do too much and not try to go for the home run, but know like, okay, if I can get 30 or 40 rather than maybe get like 10 because I'm trying to go for the home run. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah. Well, yeah, I do like to at least get the ball down the field, and it definitely is a little hard, especially because a lot of the kicks are pretty short, so you're rushing with them coming at you as fast as possible. So it makes it a little challenging, but I at least try to get as much yardage as I can on that.
So as you go into your junior year, man, I appreciate you coming on. What are some goals that you've had for yourself that you've written down?
For myself, like obviously, I would like to get more yardage this year.
Yeah.
And also, I want to hold myself more accountable to being like a better leader because I'm not a team captain or anything, but I do want to hold my teammates more accountable. I want to be there to hype everyone up. I definitely want to be try
Mhm.
to be more of a leader for my team,
Mhm.
and I want to make sure everyone's pushing their hardest. And I do want to get to that championship, like I said.
What has what has Gaitan meant to you? Because he's one of the better guys as far as not just in the NVL, but I feel like in the state because
Hmm.
he's the kind of guy like he's a player's coach, but he also knows when he has to crack the whip, right? I
Yes,
feel like when
yes,
you crack the
definitely.
whip, it's like everybody turns their head and they listen. So like,
Yep.
what has he meant to you and the squad? Because you guys are so lucky to have him.
Hmm. We are. We really are because he's there definitely to push us to our fullest. Like
Mhm.
every day, he doesn't matter who you are, he'll scream to make sure you get that point, and he'll make sure we're pushing ourselves. And for every play, he's making sure we're going our hardest.
Mhm.
and to every detail, he makes sure it's like perfect, especially when we run our plays and everything.
So you guys were the reason why he was so hoarse on Wednesday. He was yelling at you, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of figured. I didn't want to say anything, but I was like, "Gee, have you been yelling this entire time?" He could barely talk. It
Yes.
sounded like his voice was like gone.
Yeah. It
No,
was definitely because of us.
I'm not surprised. But hey, that's a good thing though, because he's
It
coaching.
is. Mhm.
That's a good thing. Before I let you go, Aiden, so I'll be at the games on Wednesday because I'll be able to see you guys, Weathersfield,
Okay.
Simsbury. I'm
Yep.
looking forward to that. Being able to be in the scrimmages, I'm sure you guys are chomping at the bit because you've gone through the out-season conditioning, you've
Mhm.
done practices, and now it's like, all right, I'm tired of hitting my friend. Now I want to hit
Yeah.
somebody else. So
Exactly.
how excited are you? But also too, not to do too much because you kind of want to build yourself up.
Yeah.
Like I
Mhm.
feel like if everybody gets their first hit out of the way, like once you get hit, because you everybody gets hit once, right?
Everyone. Yep.
Even Jet Hall does.
Yep.
So
Everyone.
once you get that one hit in, do you feel like it's like, all right, I'm used to getting hit by someone other than my friend Toby. Now I'm good, right?
Yeah. I feel like it definitely does like flip the switch really fast. Like I
Mhm.
think once you get all those like first game jitters out and all that, you definitely feel more calm and like relaxed. You'll be able to read the game more. Like I feel like it definitely helps.
Hey, Aiden, I appreciate you coming on, buddy. This was a lot of fun. Best of luck as far as this season. I'll be seeing, like I said, you guys on Wednesday. I'm looking forward to it. And just, hey, have a heck of a season, man. I'm looking forward to being able to see you guys down the road.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on too. Have a good
Always,
day.
always. I'll wrap things up here on the CT Sports Talent Show. So next time, stay safe. Remember, City stands for Connecticut Talent. Enjoy, find them all. Enjoy the day, everybody, and be well.